everybody. This is Kevin Ho. Welcome to Cardistry, Lore, and More. I'm here today with my good friend and co-host, Brendan Connor.
Hello, everyone. Just pure host episode today. Just Kevin and Brendan chopping it up like the good old days in episode one and two.
Yeah, it was good to see you that past weekend at the Missing Jam on Discord.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I boomered it in a big way. I don't really know how to use Discord, and I still don't know how to use Discord. But yeah, I thought I was in the chat room, but no, I was just sitting in like a blank void on Discord for like the first 25 minutes, frantically DMing Leo, like, how do I do this?
Yeah, well,
Eh,
it's easier to do it on the computer because sometimes when you're on the phone using Discord, you don't really see the sidebar, and so it's hard to like figure that out and go to it.
Well, unfortunately, I actually was on my laptop. The sidebar, there's so many things. There's like an event, and then there's like the
Yep.
jam one, two, three. I don't know
Hmm.
what I want to click. I don't know where to go. Anyways, I got in there eventually, and it was great. Yeah, it was like it was very much giving tiny chat
Ah,
in a
yeah, I was about to say.
in a big way, and like people were referring to each other by their fun usernames, and they were making jokes, and they were pulling puns, and there was inside jokes. It was great.
Yeah, a lot of
Cardistry jams are
hand
a lot.
shots, a
A
lot
lot
of
of hand shots.
yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, do people just because people don't use webcams anymore, do they? Is that a thing?
I think they do. I think a lot of people use their phones on like a Gorilla Pod or something, or like just propped up like we have right now.
Yeah,
But I think people still use their like computer like built-in cameras that they have, kind of
yeah.
like how I have my laptop camera right now.
It was nice to see. Yeah, I definitely had like a webcam I bought at Best Buy back in the Tiny Chat days, and then it
Is it
sits
like
on top of
a
your computer
Logitech?
monitor. It was a Logitech, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
Is it something like oh man, I can't stretch this one out. But
the slow pan.
these ones?
Yes, yes, it was like that, but like 15 generations before that. It was great, and it's still kind of like there's something about these chat rooms. I think it's the delay and the frame rate of it all,
Hmm.
where you can really pull miracles to people, especially when it comes to color changes and stuff. I actually remember you pulled up the tiny chat once, and you were doing your this
Oh,
change,
the bob change, yeah.
the bob change, and the bob change does look very magical, but with the frame rate of tiny chat, it looked impossible. And you just came up, you were just doing this, and I was like, what the nuts. Iconic.
I
Iconic.
remember people used to go on Tiny Chat and they take advantage of the frame rate and say like, "Oh, check this out. This is Jackson 5," and they would just do this a bunch of times.
It worked. Things looked way better in that frame rate.
Hmm.
I yeah, I don't know if actually like high resolution HD has been good for the community. We might need to take it back to like 144p.
That's probably how Daniel Madison got away with change, you know.
It is. That's still he needs to address that video.
He needs to address the allegations.
Yeah, he did not beat the allegations. We did speak about that. It's
We
just
did
like
speak about it,
it's so
yeah.
silly. What a silly man. Yeah. Yeah. Well, so yeah, today we were chatting. We were thinking of maybe having a guest today, but we decided that this is episode seven. We've been chatting about cardistry lore and more for in total, like what, 14, 15 hours now? It's kind of ridiculous. So yeah, we figured this was good. Maybe time to like recalibrate, maybe just reflect on some of the episodes we've done, the format. We've got some questions from the community, maybe things that they want to see in future episodes. Yeah, just kind of chill and talk shop like the first few episodes we had.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention before we move on is that on the topic of the missing jam, I think one of the things that came out of that that I really enjoyed was the XCM name generator. Do
Oh
you remember
yeah,
that?
so good. So
Because we were
good.
talking about like Hands of Sorrow. So someone was like, what about like a generator that would like output like a body part and like an adjective, so you get like Foot of Mischief.
Yeah, like uvula of unrelenting pain.
Yeah.
Someone could make
Tongue of
this.
Torment.
Tongue of torment. Someone could make this very easily, and someone should make this very easily.
They should.
Yeah, yeah. There's just like how niche you want to get with the body part will be the key factor to how hard your name hits. Yeah. Cardistry name generator. It's so funny. Okay, so I've been wondering.
Yeah.
We've asked all these questions of these amazing guests we've had. What's your favorite this? What's your favorite that? I don't actually know what your favorite anything is.
I
I
was
think
about
I
to
do.
say, I want to
I
get to
think
know
I.
yours too.
I think I do just through osmosis of like being a good friend of yours for damn near 2 decades. But
Hmm.
yeah, I figure it's only fair that our listeners know where we're coming from and kind of our style calibration too, because like cardistry is so subjective.
Yeah.
So so when Franco's saying like, "Oh, like this card is the best," maybe I'm like, "Nah, I don't know about that." You want to know where I'm coming from, so
Where we
um,
stand.
where we stand, because I still think of like sometimes I'm brushing my teeth in the mirror and the topic of style, like what is cardistry style, is still kind of this like ethereal, ambiguous thing that I don't know if anyone's like truly figured out yet. I don't even know if I figured out yet, but I just know innately like I enjoy a certain style of cardistry, and I don't actually know exactly what that is. There's like this element to it that I enjoy. So
Right.
maybe we can dive into that a little bit too. Also, off topic, I saw a comment asking what the hell I'm looking at when I do this.
Oh
When I'm
yeah, yeah.
that's just my thinking pose.
Yeah, I
I'm
figured.
I'm shy. Eye contact is hard. And also, when you're filming on camera too, I'm basically just staring directly into my own face when I'm doing
Yeah.
this. So this is just like a nice breather to like remind me that like I'm human and like I can stop being perceived for a second. So
Yeah.
to answer that question, but yeah, if you're ready, I figure we can maybe jump into the top threes.
Okay, yeah. So, what do we normally start with? Videos?
I think videos.
Videos. So we've done the past couple episodes, one classic,
One
one
classic.
modern, and
Yeah.
all time.
Yes.
Okay. So for me, classic's got to be Spring Jam,
Yeah.
2003 Spring Jam, not like the 2007 one, not the 2010 one, not even the Cheaters Cheated one, like the original Propeller Heads, Take
Yeah.
California version that came out.
Yeah.
Like, seeing like that was just an onslaught of relentless machine-like card flourishing at the time. I'd seen little snippets of Dan and Dave here and there, like them doing Revolutionary Ace, Kryptonite, Mary
Yeah.
Jane, 360 Spider, but seeing all that put together, the music and everything, and like the way it was edited and the way it was shot, and having that like prestige of the Jerry's Nuggets, so good.
So good. And they made that with there being like no context to what a cardistry video should really look like at the time as
No,
well. I think that
yeah,
the influence for that was pulled from their favorite like actual film directors and things like that.
probably, yeah. I think that it was also like a direct contrast to the Handlord style because Handlord was darkness and on black background,
Yeah.
and this was like the Gandalf the white,
Yes.
pure,
Purity.
yeah, the
That's
the light side.
that's a great choice. Yeah. Do you remember
Yeah,
where it was first posted? Was it because YouTube wasn't around?
yeah. YouTube wasn't around back then. YouTube came out in 2006, and this was like back in 2004, 2003-ish. Um, I think it was just posted on their website. I remember like downloading an MOV of it to watch. Um, and yeah, I used to watch that like literally every day. Just come home,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
play it slow motion, frame by frame,
Frame by
trying to figure
frame on
out
QuickTime, just hitting
on
the.
QuickTime.
Yep.
Yeah, this is
I
before
I've done that.
VLC.
I've done that with many Darren videos. Yeah, it is kind of crazy to think as well about because now if you want cardistry, go on YouTube, search cardistry. Go on Google, search cardistry, or search your favorite flourish and something will pop up. But for these videos to have come in front of our eyes on old school internet back in the day, I feel like a million little pieces and decisions had to fall into place to find that.
Yeah,
And I think it felt extra special because of that, because it was like, what is this? How did I find this? So
yeah. Like these days, you can find cardistry, but back then, cardistry had to find you.
yeah,
It
we
had
had no
to.
algorithm back then.
Mm-mm,
Yeah,
mm-mm.
it's like we were the chosen people. So the shufflers. Okay, that's great. Okay, so that was old school.
Yeah.
So how about modern?
Well, if you would include modern being in at least the past 10 years or so, then
Definitely.
I guess expansion barely makes it. Andrew Avala's video,
Mm, hmm.
like the one that he did with Buzz.
So crazy.
Yeah, like um, Andrew had a great WKC run,
Yeah.
but I felt that the one he did with Buzz was especially well made and edited, and the music, like Marijuana by Chrome Sparks,
So good.
such a banger.
Yeah, and knowing Andrew as well as a friend, um, and how like kind of quirky, silly guy he is, I think that like it captured the his essence really well as well, and like his love of this curiosity for cards and all this. It's so fun. It's so professional, but it's so fun as well.
Yeah,
I don't know if I've seen
yeah.
a video that's really captured that same type of essence.
No, it
That's
feels like a very bright video as well, and I guess
definitely.
maybe me liking Spring Jam and this one, you can start to see a bit of a pattern with that.
Yeah, totally. That's a good point.
Um, yeah, there's many moments in the video that just stand out to me, like even the um, second to opening shot, not second to open shot, but like when the action really starts is like when he does spinning rhombus and the camera like pushes in,
Yep.
and when he does like the double flower fans and the camera like goes up along with the move,
And the
center
music
fan,
inflection with the piano cuts
yeah,
too,
yeah, piano cuts,
because the song goes to like kind of it's like a like electric guitar section where it's like bling, 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 and the cuts are just perfectly timed to it. And then
oh, so
he
good,
reverse Unos the cuts too. Oh my God,
yeah,
Andrew, you're crazy.
yeah, one of my favorite videos. Watch it so many times, and I thought a little bit about all time, and this is going to come across as like a little self-indulgent, but it's the truth. Like, I
Hit
think
me, bro.
all-time favorite video is got to be Liquid Paper.
Yeah,
Like, I was a
yeah,
part of it, but like just looking at it from a rewatchability standpoint, like just being involved in something so influential, like I've seen so many people say that they got into cardistry because they saw that video,
yep.
and like just the stories behind it. Like Darren and I got into skateboarding like shortly before we started shooting liquid paper,
I
and
would. Darren on a skateboard.
yeah, Darren on skateboard. There's one day where he came into work and he had his hands all like cut up and stuff because he fell, and so we had to postpone filming for like a few weeks because of that. And then the lens that we rented for the camera, one time like the camera was up on like a tripod, and then the tripod fell and it like landed directly on the lens and cracked the lens, and so that led to like another delay and stuff. So there were all these roadblocks getting into it, but it was worth it. And there were like these little moments of just discovery and flukes. Like I I don't know why, but I was listening to the song that I'd chosen for the video, like Cedar Shed by Koloto,
Yeah,
and when I heard the opening, like ding, ding,
yeah.
I got thinking about like Bruce Lee's "Be Like Water"
Hmm.
quote, and so I went home and I edited like the quote to the music, and I brought it in the next day at work, and I let Darren and Huron hear it, and they were like, "Whoa!" So that
Yeah.
was like a complete fluke. Like I don't know where the inspiration came from, but that led to that happening. And the
Stylistically, a
name,
great choice. Amazing choice putting that in there as
thank
well.
you, thank you. Like yeah, I think it was Darren and Huron's choice to include the quote at the end of the video.
Right.
Um, um, but the name of the video too, also like a complete fluke. Like there's this whiteout brand in Singapore called Liquid Paper. And
Mm.
so when we were shooting out names for the video, I was like, what about liquid paper? Because like it's about fluidity, and we have
Yep.
like cards made out of paper,
Yep.
and uh, like it caught on like pretty quickly, and that's what we ended up going with. But my favorite liquid paper story has to be I was in London shortly after the Berlin Cardistry Con. You know, I was going to see Darren Brown in
Yep.
Blackpool, so I was in London before that. And I was just walking on the street and I saw this homeless girl, and I donated some money to her, and we ended up talking. I was like, hey, you know, I'll buy you a coffee. So we went to like a local coffee shop, and while I was getting her the coffee, I was like talking to her about what I do and whatnot because she was asking about me, and I was like, well, better to show you than to tell you. So I plopped my laptop in front of her. I gave her these headphones, and I queued up liquid paper for her to watch. And I got the coffee. I came back, and when I got back, I saw that she had tears in her eyes. And she took off the headphones, and she was like, "In my language, we have no words for this."
Wow.
She's Hungarian, so like I think that alone cements the reason why like I love that video so much. Like I
Yeah.
know that I was part of it, so maybe like some people would disqualify that, but
I mean,
it's
it's
a
not it's
great.
not even a hot take, buddy. It's like also, yeah, you like fully were like, here's a coffee. Also, I'm gonna plug you into the Matrix and I'm about to blow your mind, so get ready. No, because that was arguably the biggest like inflection point for cardistry, I think, globally, was that era. Because that was the virality era of things. Because that video has
Yeah,
millions of views, right? And like thing you had all the news outlets covering the verts and things were being
yeah.
post like going viral on Facebook. I forget the name of the pages that would repost things, but they
Like
would get like
usually it's like Unilad is like one of the
Unilad
big
and stuff
ones.
like that. Yeah. Um, and I think, yeah, we owe as a community, especially
Yeah, I'm
like the
looking
newer
at it
generation.
now. Liquid Paper's up to 5.6 million views
Crazy,
on YouTube.
nuts. Yeah, and as like like a moment of legitimacy for what we do, I think. I remember for myself as well. I think I spoke to this in that Berlin Cardistry Con documentary. I don't know what happened to that, but
Oh, the one that Kalok shot?
yes. And you were really nice, and you got me kind of set up to kind of talk about past and present cardistry since I had been there in the past, and then I left, and now I'm kind of back to see the new generation in Berlin. And for someone like me who always had a hard time vocalizing or explaining what this very niche hobby is that I spend so much of my life doing, having a video like that, like liquid paper, which views alone is in the millions, is like that's a selling point already. Like, look at this thing. Like, this is crazy. People watch it, and that's my friend, and this is what we do. It was great, and I'm sure it still brings tons of new artists into the scene as well. So, way to go! You killed it.
So, what's your top threes for videos?
Yeah, honestly, there's going to be a lot of parallels to Verts, I think. I'm pretty Verts pilled. Um, so I think old school would be Comma White by Darren.
Yeah,
I think just per viewing, of most of like the video I viewed the most in my life, it's 100% that video. So I guess that video dropped maybe about halfway through the lifespan of Technique.
Yeah.
Um,
And
and there used
I
to
think
be,
it said like it was like a Technic exclusive, right? It had the logo in the video, didn't it?
oh yeah, yep, yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, Darren just dropped it. I had a Marilyn Manson song in the background,
Hmm.
kind of Darren's washed out black and white editing style.
Yeah.
And I would watch that. I would wake up in the morning. I think I was in either like end of elementary school or like beginning high school. Would watch it all morning, go to school, think about it, come home, and then just watch it more. And I probably did that for a good year of my life. And
Right.
I don't know, there was just something about Darren as a like an entity. Like he had this style and this fluidity that just it wasn't Dan and Dave, it wasn't DeVoe, it didn't exist anywhere else. But it's like he was parallel skill level to these titans of cardistry, but he was just a regular Joe Schmo filming on his
No,
webcam.
Darren was prodigious. I think that's always been my impression of him is that he
Definitely,
just is a younger dude,
yeah,
but so much skill and talent and variety as well. Like the range that he had at that era with like the Ace Productions and like doing fans and
yeah.
cuts and displays and
And the original creations too, and seeing how he had continued building them and refining them, like Mockingbird. Initially, when he dropped it, was just the beginning phase of Mockingbird, and then he added like
yeah.
these elements to it, and then he combined it with Twist of Fate as the closer and all this, and
Hmm.
um, just that style of creation and pairing and kind of variation within cuts. Because also back then we had Dan and Dave, we had the system. I don't think the
Hmm.
trilogy was out yet. We had the
No.
system cuts basically, and you would do the system cuts how they were performed by Dan and Dave. There wasn't
Yeah.
if you did any type of variation, it was considered wrong. And also the first move in that video is Madonna 1, but Darren does a variation of it. He has like a little extra rotation to the first packet,
Hmm.
and I to me that felt illegal at the time. But he
Is
made
it
it look so
breaking?
good. He made it look better, honestly. And I think it was like a Huron variation or something.
Right, right.
And then that just kind of opened my eyes. I was like, oh, you can take these moves and you can infuse them with your own style, or you can maybe like change something up here. And
Yeah, I reckon that's something people these days take for granted that, you can really just make your own variations of things and make them look good because
definitely,
it used to be so sacred that a move was this.
yeah, definitely. I mean, that kind of lit the fire under my butt to start messing around with like I would do Pandora, then I'd bust open like
Yeah,
Carnahan
a
fan
content
and like
fan.
L cuts and like I would modify everything that Dan and Dave would do after that. And yeah, it was just like a really eye-opening moment for me to see someone do that.
Yeah, it's a good education.
Yeah, that video is it's like in my DNA. And it's held up great, like amazing to this day.
Yeah.
Modern cardistry video, I think it would have to be Caught in the Act by Nikolai.
Nikolai, yeah. Oh, that's the one
Yeah,
with the that anyone put out
yeah.
where he does the some kind of worm and just drops it on the
Yeah, he's
floor.
like, I needed like I needed to fill like 15 seconds of the video, so let's just bust out a backwards word and drop the cards.
No, that has Lancelot in it, right?
Yes, has
Yeah,
Lancelot. I don't know the name of any of
Lancelot.
his moves, but they're all
Three
insane.
folds in it too, I
Yep,
think.
yep, yep.
So good. Yeah. Like the music too.
The editing and just the vibes and kind of like
And it's
peak air.
Nick. It's
And it's
Nick.
Nick. So Nick has been like maybe the biggest influence for me in my this era of me being back in cardistry and kind of figuring out how to
Yeah.
navigate modern cardistry. It,
Which is funny because he cited you as a big influence back in his article in the Cardist magazine a long time ago.
yeah, yeah. He calls me dad. I call him son. But no, he's a very, very, very good friend. And yeah, I think I owe everything to him because when I came back to cardistry, it is not easy pivoting old mechanics to to a new era of mechanics where you've kind of missed like 5 years of development in between. It took me so
Hmm.
I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah.
It took me like 3 or 4 years to even get like the baseline of what like modern cardistry is or how you create that way. So yeah, I would just study Nick and what he did, his fluidity, his simplicity. Um, and I think that video just exemplifies like his ethos when it comes to creating two hand cuts. So I love that video. I love Nick. And then yeah, all time, you ready to get glazed up again? Uh, yeah, this video is like is I was talking to my friend about this video the other day, non-cardist, about how much this has actually just impacted my entire life, even outside of cardistry. But reintroduction by the
Oh
Verts.
yeah. I was just
So
noticing that. Are you wearing like a Elijah style belt right now?
yeah, that's what we were talking about. Exactly what we were talking about. Yeah, yeah, we go. Um, so yeah, when you drop that video, the Verts also were kind of this mythological creature of the era too, because you had a couple videos on the internet. They were fine, the old ones,
Yeah.
but by like modern standards at the time, they weren't. I don't know. They weren't insane. It was like kind of like jams and stuff.
Yeah. Like
But the
that
way people would
night.
talk about the Verts and like Huron and Elijah, they had no public videos. It was like, oh, like I missed these guys. And then boom, reintroduction, basically spring jam for the modern era,
Yeah, that's what we were going for.
and nailed it. And yeah, then also poaching Darren and bringing Darren in, who was my favorite cardist of all time, and then seeing him being like integrated into this new group and bringing this new blood of the two hand cuts and all that. Anyways, it was crazy to me. And yeah, I was thinking about the influence of that video on kind of my trajectory through life. Um, I was talking to my friend he's a big like mountain biker, and we were talking
Hmm.
about like, do we have any brands from our childhood that we were just super loyal to from back in the day? So for him, he would wear like Fox clothing. Fox is like a mountain bike brand, so he'd have like
Uh-huh.
Fox shirts, Fox helmet, all this, and he was a diehard fan. And I was thinking, I was like, oh, I don't really have any brands, but I used to dress like Elijah Kai from the Verts reintroduction video for like years straight, like the skinny jeans and the button-up shirt. And that was kind of like this moment of me like experimenting with like fashion and style. And that has been a huge part of my life since outside of cardistry. Very into fashion, work as a model, work within the industry. That was kind of like the first point where I was like, oh, I think I kind of like this, and maybe let's explore like clothing and stuff. But yeah, that's from the Verts video. So Verts was my favorite brand back in the day. So yeah,
Awesome.
so yeah, I think that would be the one.
Wow. Thank you.
No worries. Oh, thank you.
Um, Fun fact, the reintroduction video was never meant to be a video. It was actually footage that we collected from a DVD that we were making,
Yep.
explaining, moves that we were going to teach. We ended up scrapping the DVD project, which I'm kind of glad about because DVD sort of died out, and that wouldn't have the same longevity as it
Yep.
would if it just was a video. Um, Darren was a boss and like edited everything in Sony Vegas together. This was before we got Final Cut and all that. And yeah, like I was in Singapore having just shot that over the summer before starting college. And then I got to college and then it got posted and it was on Theory 11. And Chris Kenner, like, sent us some nice compliments our way.
Yep.
And it just sort of blew up. And um, it's a good time. It's a good time.
That was a great time. And again, there was no real monetization to anything
No.
back then. It was like the amount of effort that went in it just for the love of the game is
Yeah.
I don't know, it's beautiful. Beautiful
Yeah.
to see.
I think that the opening reverse explosion shot, it might be the same explosion at the end of Doctor
Oh,
Strangelove.
mm,
I might be wrong, but it's either that or some stock footage that we found.
got like the nuke going off.
Yeah, the nuke going off in reverse.
Yeah, that's
So out of pocket.
so.
You.
There's some moments in there too where it's like the battle
Oh yeah,
sequence
the whole like that thing.
where Darren's like, and the haircuts too. Oh my God, Huron's haircut in that, and Darren's got his
Huron's
little
haircut.
emo thing going on.
Darren does have the Iori from King of
And like
Fighters
his
look going on.
introduction, his like when you're introducing all the members of the Verts, and like you all do like a crazy cut, you do damn straight, and then Darren's like staring at the ground and doing like a crazy one hand cut like this.
Yeah.
So vibey, so vibey, and like that for a teenage kid who's raw with emotions and kind of emo adjacent.
Yeah.
I was like crack, man. Inject that straight into my veins.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, next up we have moves, right?
Moves, yeah. I
Yeah.
never. That's a hard one. I feel for the guests now.
I think I have mine. Do you want me to go first while you kind of think about yours?
Yeah, I'll vegetate.
Okay. So, classic move. It has to be what the hell happened to Sybil.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the move that got me into cardistry. I'd seen cardistry before. I think I mentioned this many times throughout my span in cardistry that like I'd seen ribbon spread, I'd seen springs, I'd seen maybe like a charlet cut, little bits of cardistry, but like the thing that really impacted me and made me go like, wow, I want to do that
Yep.
was seeing Bone Ho come into the magic shop I was working at and show me what the hell happened to Sybil.
So
So
crazy to
out of
see that.
like this insane to see live. Like it just looked like packers were going everywhere. It's so fast and fluid. And how do you even like construct something like that?
Yep.
Like insane. Like at the time. Like I was very lucky to have it done by someone well, like
Yep.
in the flesh. Because I think I'd actually seen what that happened to someone before on Show Off, but it was
Yep.
like I don't know. Like I don't know if the opening of Show Off is sped up, but it looks like it. We might have to ask Mr. Shooter about that in the future,
Allegedly. But
allegedly.
also just like the quality of those tapes too was like VHS quality as
Yeah,
well. So
but when you see it in real life, you know it can't be sped up unless you're like under the influence or something.
yeah.
And like I was so shocked and amazed by it that it's forever cemented in my brain as like one of the most influential things I'd ever seen. So that's
Sybil when you haven't seen Sybil before, I don't know if there's another move in the world that kind of hits like a good Sybil does.
yeah.
Because all modern cardistry is based on Sybil. Like,
Yeah, Z grip adjacent moves.
and just that. Because like five face Sybil is cool, right? But if it stops, I want to
Yeah.
see it keep moving. It's crazy.
Yeah, like the transfer down to here and like going into very bad habit after that.
Oh yeah, and that was like so hard. The
That was
entire
actually also related to the first time. Oh, you're saying the entire what?
No, sorry, yeah, go ahead.
That was also related to the first time I ever saw the Buck Twins in action was on the Hit the Road DVD, and Dan was doing Madonna 2 into What the Hell Happened to Sybil,
Yeah.
and I was also just like so enamored by it.
Yeah, they used to have these little things, like they'd have some performances on the system, I remember, which were kind of combos between moves. Like they tease, I don't know if it was the Madonna 2 performance on the system, but because they had different angles they'd shoot at, so you could like click on the different angle, and one of the
Yeah.
angles he would do it, and then he'd bust into Sybil after it, and then they'd never teach that Sybil part.
Oh. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
I'm still hunting for just a Sybil tutorial.
Yeah, the closer you get is probably false Sybil on the system.
Yep. Yep. Good choice. Okay. Yeah, Sybil needs more
Um,
respect. Yeah, anyways. So modern.
Modern, well, this might not be so modern because I think it's older than 10 years old, but what else do I know, really? Riffle Fan by Dimitri,
Yeah.
which has its roots in, I think, it might be a Schumann or Nebelfuchs, who
Yeah.
had like that initial mechanic of like doing it like this.
Yeah. And then it like end on his palm or something.
Yeah, but I've gotten so much mileage out of Dimitri's take on that move. Like,
Yeah.
I remember going to Magic conventions and telling people it was like the banana fan, and I would like borrow a banana and like do it on the tip of the banana, and like it, it, it it's an automatic seeming move.
Yep.
It looks like there's zero movement, but so much mileage out of it, and I love moves that have that kind of efficiency to them,
Yep.
where it looks like you're not doing anything, but so much happens. It's almost like
Totally.
the opposite of something like Sybil, where Sybil is a direct ratio of like how much apparent effort you're doing in the move versus how
Yeah.
much output you're getting. With Riffle Fan, you're just doing like a little riffle, and then like you get this big display that comes out of it. And I think since you know Dimitri put it out in Monument and Silent Transition, and we also put it in airtime and stuff
Yep.
like that. Like now it's everywhere. Like you'll see so many TikTok videos and Instagram reels where people are doing it as part of their unboxing videos, and
It's a classic.
it's a modern classic. So
And you're
I
right.
know it's a
I like to sorry to cut you off.
yeah.
The 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 contrast between Sybil or like a two-hand cut and the Riffle fan, especially from a layperson's perspective. Like
Mhm.
this looks there's nothing in a layperson's brain that they can relate to like this motion. It just looks like magic. But when you hit like a Riffle fan or similar, maybe like a lapel spread or something, their
Mhm.
brain will automatically be like, "Oh, that looks like an accordion," or it looks
Yeah,
like it's a thing they recognize, and it's just this very relatable magical thing in their brain. And I think that's actually
yeah,
why some of these moves just work so well for lay people. Is like it looks like something that they understand, but it's for the deck of cards. So
yeah. Like
sweet,
some kind of transformative effect, I think is always fun.
definitely.
And all-time favorite move, like this may seem like an understatement, but like I really love this move because of what it represents for me philosophically, and that's Flirt by Dave.
Hey,
Like the first time I ever saw Flirt, it was like a what was that? Like, can you do that again? Kind of move because like he was just fiddling with the deck, and then this thing busted out in the corner of my eye, and I saw it, and like it was over before it began, kind of
yep,
thing. And um, what I love about Flirt is that it's so efficient. You're only doing like this with your fingers, and you get so much motion out of it.
yep,
And it's also like a tease, like the same way that Lee Asher, when he first demonstrated Yo, it was just him standing on like a corner, and he would go like that, go like this
yep,
as well, where it's like you're not even, it's like a coin toss or
yep,
like a pen spin, just these little instances of like I'm not even trying kind of
yep.
move, but you get like this attention, not attention seeking, but more so, what's the word for it? You're catching someone's eye with the move,
Yeah.
with minimal effort is the
It's
vibe
it's
that I get.
offbeat. It's an offbeat type of move as well.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
So it's almost like yeah, you're right. It's like it's like the deck does it itself or something, or it's like a style point at the end. It's kind of like how Tobias hits the deck flip after like the best performance of a two hand cut you've ever seen, just to show that
Yeah,
he doesn't give up.
yeah. Because these kinds of moves are like the opposite of G-Force from XB, where he has
Yeah,
like the full on like,
you're like, "Hmm."
like it's really just this, and you're getting like all this motion. I think it's
Did you
great.
did you have Raccoon before Flirt was
No,
released?
no, no. Raccoon is the descendant of Flirt, definitely.
Okay, so Flirt's one of
I
the first
saw.
like fidget moves then, for sure.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Like, I think that you could call pirouette maybe a fidget move as well, if it's done
Yeah.
just casually. And funny lore behind pirouette is that my friend Michael Weber was the one who brought it from Japan back to the States. He saw a Japanese businessman doing it at a bar in Japan, just like using a business card and like spinning it. So he asked to learn it, and then this was before the internet, like
Yep.
before everyone had video cameras on their cell phones. So he like returned to the States and started sharing it in the local magic circuits, and
Crazy.
that's how people in the U.S. found out about that move.
Crazy.
So
That's
this
lore.
is like OG sneakerware spread
Totally.
of moves.
Okay, so it has Japanese roots.
Hmm. Yeah.
Kind of like the thumb spin or something with a pen. Something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And or the
Sweet.
360 fan, right? Is it the Naoki fan, right? Is Japanese? Sounds like it.
Yes. Well, I think actually that one's I think it's done differently. I think it's like done this way. And anyways, I think like is it? I don't know. I'm not gonna say things that aren't true.
You don't
I
want
just when
misinformation
I
on the
learned, I
lore
just like
podcast.
brute forced learning it because Jonas, all my Jonas, everything I've done, I've realized Jonas. There was a video of Jonas, and I just got obsessed with it and did it because there was a Jonas video of him doing the 360 pound with like 10 cards or something.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember that one, and I saw that. I was like,
I think
oh,
so. Yeah.
let's do it.
Yeah, like man, Jonas. What a legend.
Yeah, it always this pod always comes back to Jonas at some point.
It should. Like he's the OG.
Okay, good
Um,
list. Good list. That's a good three.
yeah. So your three.
Yeah. Okay. So old school. Old school move. I think it has to be tornado.
Oh yeah, Ashford's.
And the the avenues of creation that just that grip or that concept kind of opened up.
Yeah, because that's where
Um,
Mockingbird came from.
it's where Mockingbird comes from. It's basically where Skater Cup comes from. Like
It's also an integral part of Pandora when done correctly.
Pandora, just utilizing the meat, the palm meat.
Yeah, the palm is the technical term for it.
Yeah, the palm meat, and then and then being able to like pivot something with these fingers here.
Mhm.
That was kind of this new era of cardistry too, like the spinny era. You
Yeah,
can definitely trace different eras of metas, but there was like spinny, there was one card era, but for me the spinny era was super fun. And seeing
yeah,
Mockingbird like
yeah. I think that like there were probably more than three, but three major spinning grips that came out of that period that I think were so influential. And you mentioned already the palm meat spin
palm
from,
meat spin.
I hate saying meat spin, but the
Yeah,
palm
oh yeah.
meat grip,
Oops.
the palm beat grip from Tornado, and the other is the middle finger grip from Molecule,
Yep.
because this opened up the index finger to be able to do like a bunch of stuff with this packet.
Yep.
And the third one is this thing from Sora, which I took for Sick and Twisted, Wings of the
Yep.
Mockingbird.
Yep.
Like
Yep. Yep.
I've
Definitely.
seen so many people do different variations of Sora, based on that thing. But yeah, like those three, I think, had the most influence at the time for corner spin moves. And then these days, you have things like Zui's Mocking God with like
Yep.
that grip. It's so crazy.
Yep. Yep. And then yeah, Tornado 2 was just there was a Tornado DVD. Like it's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Maybe
I
arguably the
had.
worst production value of all
It's a tornado.
time. Because it was also again, it was this move that had been taken to limits a million times past the original create. Because shouts out to Ashford for the creation, but I don't think he wasn't taking it to its full potential. And then the
It
Singaporean
exceeded him.
cardists, oh man, like Ling and Darren. Ling had a crazy tornado. I remember.
Ling's tornado was so crazy that that BlackBerry ad actually was based on the footage of her like
Yes.
doing it.
Yes. Did she get paid for that?
No, of
Probably
course
not.
not.
Stolen. Stolen. And then Darren obviously had an insane tornado as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
That's how the Birds did the tornado tips video. That's up on YouTube, I
yes.
think. Still.
I used to slow it down because his didn't, because it would like rotate, but then it would kind of hit back a little bit. So it like gave an
Mm,
illusion of more spin.
right.
So yeah, it was this like move with finesse that you can never really get perfect, but there's like this achievement that you're trying to get to. So tornado, yeah, I went crazy for tornado. Modern move. Mm, I think the one that hit my brain the hardest and made me go, "Oh my God!" Like I am so not ready to be back into cardistry. I'm so far behind. Was it's called it's Oliver move Oberheim, the opening
Oberheim?
move from Jet Packets.
Oh, yeah.
The three packets kind of spinning around,
Yeah.
just perfect. It doesn't even look like he's like moving his fingers. It's just like these three packets are kind of like spinning and flipping and doing all this so perfectly, so
Yeah.
fluidly. I saw that because that again, I've said this many times in the past, but I think Jet Packets like was a huge meta shift for the style of cardistry
Hmm.
and pushing it into like comfy cardistry era.
Yeah.
But that move was just like, oh my god, like I don't know any of these grips. I don't know like where this is not a Z. This is like reverse Z grip, weird thing. Like none of it made sense in my brain, and that was very rare to happen. I think when you've been doing cardistry for a long time, for their move to truly like shock the senses. So yeah, I think that's probably the most memorable, at least. But yeah, I love that move. I need to learn that move. And
Yeah.
then all time, hmm, all time.
I have a feeling it's a Dan and Dave move. I might be wrong.
It honestly, I want to say Riffle Shuffle, but that's lame. Um, I think it's Hot Shot.
Hot shot cut. I love that scene of you doing the hot shot cut from the end of Portable Playground 2,
Oh yeah.
where you're sitting in the tunnel of the playground. You're like, sometimes I sit around and think about life and death. It's good to have friends
Hot Shot.
sometimes.
Sometimes, no.
Uh.
Hot Shot has just been there for me through thick and thin. You know,
Hot shot cut's a good one.
it's it's this. I don't know. It's like it's this fun thing. If you ever need a reminder, you feel like you suck at cardistry because you can't get these two hand cuts down or whatever. Just hit a hot shot cut and like you can probably grab the card with your eyes closed, and that's
Mm.
a good indication of like how calibrated your body is to cards.
Yeah.
Um,
Like before, Black Hawk became the cool new kid on the block, we had Hot Shot
we
Cut.
shouts out Daryl.
Shouts out Daryl Martinez, Easton, whichever it was.
Yeah, he's one of them.
Yeah,
I think he passed away actually recently.
he did pass away. Um, deep lore there, but we won't get into it.
Okay, rip.
Rip, yeah.
I heard you had
Um,
a good ambitious for card routine. I heard
with the rope and everything too, yeah.
over the top.
Um, okay, decks,
Yeah,
right?
let's snap through these ones.
Okay, so the my top three decks in terms of like modern, classic, and all time, I have in front of me.
Oh,
One of them is not the
let's go.
actual deck; it's like a remake. But old school, Tally Ho, Circle Back, Blue
Crazy.
Seals.
Boom.
These are the expert remakes. But what they represent and the memories that they've given me of like just that, when you open up like a Blue Seal Circle Back Tally and you give it that riffle and like the
Yeah.
way that it feels on your thumb is like so well cut and just it's like a premium experience getting to handle those cards. And
So
I took it for
I still
granted.
have some. Yeah.
What? I took it so for granted back then when you could just go to the card shop and get them for like $6. back in
Mine
the
are
day.
open. They're well used, but they're aging like butter.
Mm,
Like they feel so good. Like I have the decks I use in like my old videos, but even like 15 years ago,
yeah.
which are
Wow.
poop to hell, and they feel great still.
Yeah, yeah, they've got a longevity to them that you don't really get from just decks that you handle and throw away in a month. Like
Definitely.
those decks really last you a long time, and I wish I'd held on to some of mine more. I have one that is in the other room, and that's like an OG Blue Seal, and it's been beat up from me using it in like cardistry battles, here
Yeah.
and there. But it still feels really good. Um, and yeah, that's definitely like one of my favorite old school decks.
Sweet.
Um, Modern, I'm really liking Noel's heatbacks.
Definitely. They're
Like
sick.
these came in the mail last week, I think, because he had that sale for like half off, which
Yep.
might still be going on his website. I think the reds are sold out, but
Yep.
the greens are still available, and those handle just as well.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, like great handling deck. I think it looks great. Scott and Noel did a great job putting these
Yeah.
together.
Killed it. Killed it.
And this effect on the box of having Noel's grandpa
It's so
in
sick.
the uh, radial design is, I think you can see it better this way.
So cool.
Yeah, such a great design, and yeah, very just a really good deck. I really
Yeah.
like it.
Yep.
And all time, this is gonna come as no surprise to anyone who's followed my stuff, but like these things,
Yeah. Boom.
yeah,
Mirror back.
mirror
Mirror
back,
back.
1001 Aladdin's, Blue Seals, smooth finish, of course, because
Yep.
there was a point where they misprinted the mirror boxes as air cushion decks, and those felt really nice. But
Ooh.
these are the OGs, and yeah, like I used to use it because these were the cheapest decks you could find in Singapore at the time,
Exactly.
and they showed up in all my videos. But then over time, like they became something that was like coveted by the community, and I think that drove up the demand. And then they ended up printing like the newer ones, but those just weren't as
They're just
good.
not the
Like
same.
these ones are where it's at.
Are there
So that's
red Aladdins?
yeah, yeah, there are.
Are there red mirror back Aladdins?
Yes, yeah,
I feel like red Aladdins are like often forgotten,
they are.
but
Like I think you can see some of them in my old videos. Like I think
yeah,
I used to teach false cuts,
yeah, you did.
and to differentiate like the top card packet from the rest of it, I would use like a different backed card on the top packet, so that when I did the cut in the tutorial, you could follow which packet was where based on the different colored card.
Like Sybil 747. Was that what it's
Sybil
called?
947, yeah. Like
947.
I just pulled some random number out of my ass
I
to
always
make
wonder.
fun
I
of
was like,
how many.
what does this mean?
It just was a reference to just how many goddamn Sybil variations there were at the time.
Right, right,
So it's
right,
like
right.
this is Sybil 947.
Again, me looking just for a straight Sybil tutorial. I couldn't get it because you're like pulling the packet through here. I was like, just give me Sybil.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, good
Okay.
choices.
So your top three decks.
Okay, well, old school mirror back Aladdins.
Mm.
Very special place in my heart. And I think I got them completely by accident too. Like I ordered a
Oh.
brick of Aladdin's, just Aladdin's off eBay from this dealer called Full Boat Dealer back in the
Oh, I
day.
know. I remember Full Boat Dealer.
The deals were nuts. I think I got a brick for $36 or something.
What?
Yeah, like think about that. And yeah, then it came their mirror back. I didn't know what that meant at the time, but I just like fell in love with these cards. Um, yeah, I think I still have one or two. I know I've given some away to Nick because Nick is also a huge
Yeah.
Aladdin mirrorback stan. And modern, I think, honestly, I think it's OG checks. more because of like the statement that it was, and this this new era for
The
modern
ones with
cardistry.
the single red square on
Single
them,
red
like
square
on like
checks.
off
Yeah.
center.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just really
those are
liked,
good.
really appreciated that stylistic direction and aesthetic minimalism. And then that paired with their first Anyone video in New York, which is one of my favorite videos of all time.
Get paper.
Get Paper. I just thought was
Mm,
so, so cool.
great name for a video.
The best. And like by all means, the cards handle okay, I think. They're nowhere near like OG dots.
Oh,
Uh,
the dots. Dots handled so well.
dots beautiful. But yeah, OG checks I think they just have a special place in my heart too. And then all time it's gotta be bicycles, man. Just bicycle Costco 9 pack bicycles. Blue seal, black seal, I don't care. Just give me a deck of bikes and I will destroy them to hell. And I think it's honestly kind of given me this quite grounded perspective on playing cards. I don't really give a crap about collecting decks or not using decks or saving decks.
Mhm.
I see a deck cards, I'm going to use it, I'm going to poop it, I'm going to throw it away. And I think that's a very good perspective to have on playing cards. Like they're a tool, right? Like they get used
Yeah,
and mess them up. Experiment,
yeah.
rip them a
Like
bit.
I still think I have too many playing cards lying around. I want to, downsize my collection. But yeah, like if I just keep it to like maybe a handful, like I could live off like a brick of decks, maybe less for the rest of my
Totally,
life if I just like
totally.
use them interchangeably and cycle through them. Um,
Bikes have been there, yeah. Anyway, so we did that. There we go. Everyone, those are our top threes.
well, we're missing one category, which is top cardists.
Oh,
I have mine.
all right, hit me.
So, old school, got to be Dan Dave Buck. Like,
Yep. Boom.
influenced me so much. Like, it was a tie between them and Bone, but I think
Yep.
that Bone influenced me, like, as a person, like, philosophically.
Mm.
But Dan and Dave's style influenced me as a cardist more.
Yep.
So, and I was such a big fan of Dan and Dave and their cardistry and them as people that it played into my decision to go study in California when I was choosing colleges.
Right.
Uh, so I went to Cali to be closer to them and hang out with them,
So
and
cool.
it panned out because we ended up being really good friends, and we worked on things like smooth operations, and I got to be
Yep.
on the set of And Then Some,
Yep.
and it was such a good time.
So
So
sick.
yeah, Dan, like just as cardists, as pioneers, and as people, Dan and Dave Buck, for
Yep.
sure.
Amazing.
Um, modern cardists, like I was so bowled over, impressed, and blown away by Dobby's run in the 2018 Cardistry Championship. Like
Yep.
Dobby came out of nowhere and just destroyed with all these interlock moves that just pushed boundaries and kept taking things to the next level. So smooth, well performed, distinct style. The way he would like close moves with all these jutsus, you
Mm-hmm.
know, you do something and be like, and like so cool. Like, the Lotus in Hand videos that he did with him afterwards, like the one with like the silhouettes and even the stuff he did with Ambrose's brand Entered Beneath, like, and the way that he masterminded it so that he was doing, um, I think, like three moves that were tributes
Yep.
to other cardists, and then like he would do three moves that were references to those moves, and he would do it in like these uncut sequences all together. Like, there's a level of like preparedness and mastermindedness to Dobby's approach to cardistry that like I respect so much in a cardist. Like
Yeah.
just someone
Yeah. Dabby's
someone
him.
who is him. Like he feels like Thanos in a way. I know he refers to himself as the villain, but the same way that Thanos was just like cooking in the corner for years before he struck in Infinity War.
He's like a
Like,
cardistry prize fighter because Dabby only really enters competitions and wins.
yeah, like I was
So
so lucky to have him use Ven in his card club entry,
I
the
was
honored
I
one.
was there. I saw that live. I saw him win
Oh
live.
yeah, how was the
Yeah,
response to that?
it was crazy. He had one move in
Awesome.
particular where he has the table move and he spreads
Cobalt
it
drop.
and he shoots the
Yeah.
card back and forth.
Oh no, that's the I'm thinking of a different one, but that one's great too. Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
So that's my favorite modern cardist and all time. Um, I'm gonna glaze him again, but Andrew Avila, like
Our
my
boy.
boy, like just the inventiveness of Andrew and the way that each move is a complete creation and a statement, and that it also pushes boundaries. Like every move is a winner to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like instant classic.
Say
It's so
less.
it's like such an honor to just know him and to call him a friend.
It's so crazy that we're friends with Andrew.
Yeah,
Darian.
Darian.
What a character arc.
Yeah.
Okay, great list.
All
All
right.
three
So,
three amazing.
what are your top threes, artist
Yeah.
wise?
All right. So for me, old school. Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna say Darren. I mean,
That's a great choice.
I've explained why I love Darren. I think every single episode up until now. I've somehow like squeezed in a little Darren sesh. Modern, modern. So it's kind of a tie for modern, but
Hmm.
the three Danes,
Yeah.
Oliver, Nick, and Tobias, have just it's just so refreshing the fact that they exist and like what
Well,
they've done.
I mean, spiritually, they're the Holy Trinity. Those guys,
It
like
is. It's the Danish little Danish
Triforce,
pastry. Yeah, three level pastry. And they're all such nice people as well,
Mhm.
and
And
I
funny.
think they're
They're so funny.
hilarious and they're true artists, you know,
Yeah.
and just like entrepreneurs and what they've done for the community, like even just beyond the cards is phenomenal. And it's just really nice having three incredibly like inspirational people still
Yeah,
doing it.
and you can see if, based on the brands that have spawned out of what they've done that, with Oliver and Dealer's Grip, you have a specific vibe and style. Same thing with Anyone. Same thing with
Yeah,
Small Wonder.
yeah,
Like they're each doing things that speak to their essence, and I think that's great.
definitely. Yeah, and yeah, again, it's like it's been incredible, like just being friends with them. But also, if you ever had a chance to witness any of them do cardistry in person, especially Tobias, when you see him nonchalantly cooking, it's nuts. Because like, let me paint a picture. So, any normal cardist, you meet a layperson, they hand you a deck of cards, they're like, show me something. Maybe you do Phobos Deimos, or like a little Sybil, or Hotshot, or Black Hawk, like something straightforward and with a high rate of success. Tobias will do like a 5 minute two hand combo of like all his moves, Hothead 2, and he's like, yeah, that's what I do. And people are just like, oh my god. Yeah, efficient. So those are my three modern, and then all time it's got to be Jonas. So
Mm,
Jonas raised me. No, not even kidding. Again, I think I said this in one of the pod episodes, but I'm pretty sure a Jonas video was actually the first cardistry video I ever saw on E-Bomb's World
yeah,
when he went by Harwin. So
Harwin.
yeah, so he is the
Yeah.
true genesis of cardistry for me. Is Jonas. Getting to meet him in Berlin, getting to meet him and Darren in Berlin, my first
Oh.
kind of event back in cardistry. There's a picture of me just geeking next to them.
That's That's so great.
I was
That's so
losing
great.
my damn mind. Yeah, because all the other artists there were like, "Oh, it's like Tobias. Oh, it's Zach." Like, and I was like, "No, it's Jonas." So yeah, that's my top three.
I have a warm little fuzzy memory of Jonas, which is that do you remember there was these two girls who were on I guess in the Magic Cafe forums and Dan and Dave forums. Their names were Karen and Jessica, Karen Chang and
Karen,
Jessica.
don't remember.
Her name was like Karen X Chang at the time. Like right now she's like super famous. She's got like 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
Oh, crazy.
But they're friends with Jonas, and Jonas had a song called. It was a tribute to his friend Gareth, who was like a wannabe magician. And
Mm.
so the song was like, Gareth wanna be a magician. So Karen and Jessica made a song for Jonas, and the song was Jonas wanna be a flourisher.
Flourisher.
Flourisher. Yeah, like
That's amazing.
good times. So yeah, that's our top threes. We have gotten some correspondence from our listeners about what we should talk about in this episode. Quite a lot of people ended up responding, so I don't know if we'll be able to get through all of these in this episode, but we'll at least touch on some of them. Someone said that we should make a cardistry lore iceberg and talk about it, but there
Mm.
actually already is a cardistry
It
iceberg.
exists.
It exists. So if you haven't already, listener, at the cardistry.gang Instagram page, their latest post is the cardistry iceberg that they put together a while ago. This one dates back to like 2021 in October, and there's like multiple layers
Yeah.
of different
We've
on
honestly
there.
touched on a lot of this, I think.
I mean, right up at the top here, I see like Iron Man, or
Yep.
Iron Man,
Yep.
which was a big controversy back then when he was like teaching other people's moves without permission.
Yep.
And I think Chase roasted him the best with that video of like
Of Heritage?
the of Heritage, yeah.
I was pissed because I was like, how else am I going to learn Heritage? I need to watch this guy's tutorial video. He
I
did it for the
know.
people. He was for the people.
What else on
Funny.
here? Oh, Jarek 120, of course, and the whole thing with Zach. Glorified fidget spinning. We were just talking about Jay Sankey at the Missing Jam this past weekend.
Jay Stinky.
Jay Stanky.
I love there's a at Go Ask Daddy. If you know, you know.
Yes. Frankie.
There's Hindu Shuffle. That I think that's your fault.
That is my fault. Like, I, around the time of the Brooklyn Con, I came up with this bit where I said, like, do you want to know the fastest way to ruin a card flourish? And I would do like a move and end it with a Hindu shuffle. And that caught on. I made a couple meme videos about it, and then people ran with it and made a page called All Hail the Hindu Shuffle on Instagram where they ruined every move with the Hindu Shuffle.
It is kind of
So,
crazy, like mythical negative aura move.
but
And
you had a really cool Hindu Shuffle variation that you put on one of your spam you videos that
I
you sent me.
did. Yeah, I was like,
It's the
how do
one with the
I
flips.
embrace the cringe? But it's funny though, because like there's something about I think it's this arm, which is just like
The elbow up.
it's really killing the vibe. But as soon as you do like swing cuts are like the swaggiest thing you can do, right?
Yeah,
So
especially
you
like
can
the
infuse the
aerial
sauce.
swing cuts.
Oh, aerial. But as soon as you do this and do it on the long edge, zero swag.
I think it's also because maybe it has such a connection to magic with people doing the Hindu force and all that.
Say stop.
Yeah.
Why is it called the Hindu shuffle?
There's a racist reason that I won't get into on this podcast
I could have
because,
said it called. It's probably a racist reason.
but
Uh,
DM me privately and we'll talk about it.
all right. Yeah, we got Pelican Spread on here. We talk about Pelican Spread.
Pelican
Uh,
spread. They actually had the entire name of Trill Daddy Video Flex Turbo Gang on here. which if you know, you know.
That was a great video. They just those boys just pulled up to Cardistry Con LA with nothing planned. And
With
like
just some anyone shades
and then an
and
hour before they like released that video, they just like went to the parking lot and like filmed the craziest video ever.
yeah, skirt
Um
backdrop to skirt and Kama Sutra and Bahamas and all that.
you could just see if you just like found Tobias at any point during that con, he was just like furiously editing the video. He's like, I gotta finish this.
Yeah, this is a good list. Like the one of the guys who put this together, Adam Moshko, I think his
Adam does
handle
paper.
is Adam Does Paper. Yeah, he put together like a Google Doc explaining most of this. So I think if you reach out to him, if you're confused by any of these tropes, he can probably explain those to you.
He'll give the context. Sweet.
Yeah, exactly. One of the ones I like a lot at the bottom tier, Flange Hunchi Fims, at the bottom right. That's Oliver. It's an anagram
Yes.
for shuffling machine.
Yes. That's him. It's that account is still kind of active sometimes. I think I like it likes some of my content sometimes. Good stuff.
Yeah. So that's that. People can hit up Adam if they want to know more about the Cardistry iceberg. You know, we don't want to steal that from them because
Yeah.
they've already got the domain on that. Someone says we should talk about card finishes, the differences between the USPCC and the Chinese printed decks.
Mm.
Personally, I don't have much experience with stuff that's been coming out of like WJPC and all that. I've handled like some missing decks, I think, that have the decks printed from that company.
Yeah.
I don't really remember the difference of what they feel like. Brendan, do you have any say on like, you
I
know,
do. I do
China
have
printed
some.
decks?
I do. Yeah. Um, they so there's like decks printed in mainland China. Then there's also like Taiwanese factories.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, it's nothing is ever gonna come close to the durability of the USPCC, and there's a reason for this, and it's a proprietary tech thing, and
I hear
I
it's
don't.
the oils.
It's the oils, and yeah, we actually we we spoke to a one of the Chinese factories and like their lead card designer because these Chinese factories and these Taiwanese factories can come up with crazy tech, like all like the hollow stuff you're seeing.
Yeah.
Um, it's you can they can do insane things with cards, and yeah, there is a bit of like a cognitive dissonance that kind of annoys me sometimes with card collectors because they want the coolest new tech, but as soon as it says manufactured in China, they're like, yeah.
Mm,
It's like, well, you can't have it all. Um, USPCC is not innovating, period.
right.
So, but yeah, it's the oil. It's the olive oil in the cards. Um,
We need our own Daniel Plainview to do some drainage and get
but
the
it's not
oil.
like these factories in China have not been trying to replicate USPCC. They absolutely have for like
Right, I bet.
over a decade. And it's not through lack of trying that they can't figure it out. It's just that
Hmm.
USPCC has the oil and no one else has the oil. So
Right.
I think USPCC, actually, I don't want to say anything just in case USPCC comes from my ass, but follow the oil. And yeah, it's just, I think the biggest difference is the durability, right? Like Chinese decks poop quicker and they don't really bounce back the same way USDCC does. And
Mhm.
that's fine, I guess. That's why I like bicycles. They're cheap and
Yeah.
they're durable. But yeah, for finishes and just for, I think from a small business perspective as well, the reality is that these Chinese factories are just much better to work with. The lead times are much shorter.
Hmm.
The the parameters that you can operate within, um, the colors, everything, just like the feedback and the customer service, in my
And
opinion.
you can often do smaller print runs
You
too.
can also do smaller print runs too, yeah. So USPCC is, I mean, they're a titan of industry.
Hmm.
I think they have definitely taken for granted the small Cardist communities, the micro magic communities, and they've gone greedy for sure. But that's also just business. So I won't go too much into that as well. But yeah, so for card collectors and for cardists and stuff, it's great to be vocal about what you like and what you don't like from your brands. But I think there needs to be a bit of a pivot in how Chinese factories are viewed. It goes across the board for everything, for all consumer products,
Hmm.
because made in China used to be synonymous with bad quality. There was like some racist undertones to that as well. That's not the case anymore. The best things in the world are made in China now. All your electronics are made in China. All of your favorite high-tech fashion and apparel, your Gore-Tex, your Gorp, your Terex jackets, they're all made in China because they have the best factories and the best technology, the best standards of quality, and the best lead times. Same with cards. Uh,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they just don't have the oil. So,
They still don't have the oil yet. Yet.
so yeah, made in China does not mean worse. It might for cards a little bit quality wise, but I don't think that's going to be it for everything. They're much newer and they're figuring it out very quickly and they're innovating. So yeah, what do you
Speaking of
think?
China, oh,
Speaking of China,
that was going to be my segue to the next thing. What do I think? I don't really have an opinion. I haven't handled like that
yeah,
many
yeah,
Chinese decks. I think the closest I've come to it is like tinkering with like the Taiwanese Legends playing cards,
yeah,
which I wasn't too big a fan of because of the stock. I like, you know, my USPC decks. But I'm open to trying some stuff from WJPC and Kingstar and all that.
yeah,
Um, the technology they have with it, as you mentioned, is really cool. And I hear they're getting closer and closer as time goes by.
yeah, yeah. It's a matter of taste as well. Like again, I don't really care about card collecting or new decks or anything. It doesn't really excite me. That's why I'm happy to use bicycle cards. And when you've been handling anything for upwards of 20 years and you're just used to how this one thing feels, you're not going to lose that muscle memory. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
USBCC is my number one, but I also am happy that there's competition in the industry.
of course. So, as I was saying, speaking of China, Noel asked us to talk about God's Chinese son.
Oh no. Okay.
What do
Yeah,
you know about this, Brendan?
this mysterious fellow named God's Chinese son. Yeah, he was a underground bedroom hip hop beat producer back in the day, known for his trap thumping beats. Yeah, so basically, when I quit Cardistry for the first time, uh, in I guess like 2010, 2011 ish,
Mhm.
I did what any young teen would do, and I pivoted to making hardcore hip hop beats. Um, and I took this very seriously because when we're used to doing something in your bedroom alone, and like that's how
Mhm.
you expend all your creative juices, like cardistry, you need to find an
Yeah,
outlet.
yeah.
Producing music is actually a very good pivot. Um, I work in Ableton, and it's very finicky.
Ableton's great.
Kind of yeah, it's kind of like building Lego, but with music and sampling and all this, and you can really
You
just
did
pour
the
time.
Cardistry Lore and More intro in Ableton.
Yes, yes, I'm very happy with that banger. But yeah, I remixed one of DeVoe's Cradle to Grave songs into a kind of a lo-fi hip hop thumper.
Cobra Mayhem.
Yeah, so I still mess around making music. It's one of those hobbies though that's really hard to do adjacent to another hobby. So like doing cardistry and making music at the same time, it's tough because they both require so much time and they kind of drain you at the end of it. So I'm definitely more cardistry filled right now.
Have they
But
informed each other? your time in music and cardistry? Like, has your musicality informed your cardistry, or like vice versa? Has your cardistry had an impact on your music? Like, what's the through
Yeah,
line there?
yeah, that's a great question. I don't think there's a direct influence, but something that I think some artists should appreciate about themselves and the time and dedication they put into cards and getting good at cardistry is you can take that level of commitment and apply it to other things in life as well. Like what we do with cards is really, really impressive, the amount of time and dedication we've put into it. Like 10,000 hours is like basic ass stuff for cardists. We've probably put in like 40, 50, 60,000 hours. Um,
Especially if you're Franco.
especially, yeah, Franco's built different. Um, but yeah, I think the cardistry and the willingness to practice and like be bad at something, but know that if you put in the time, you will get good. That helped a lot with my mindset with music, learning how to produce music. It's hard. It's hard to start anything and get to a point, but um, I knew that yeah, you just obsess over something long enough, you can get good at it, and that applies to anything. I challenge any cardist to like pick up new hobbies and try to be bad at something again, and it's really refreshing. Like I've been learning to sew recently, and I suck, but it's been so fun being bad. And it kind of reminds me when you start cardistry and like you hit these little milestone moments really quickly at the
Yeah,
beginning, and it feels great. And then you plateau, and it sucks for 10 years. But
yeah.
um, chasing that high is fun. And I think whether it's cooking or music or art, just apply yourself. It's fun, and yeah, you
Yeah,
can do it,
it's exciting to suck at something again for once. Like
right?
I got into origami after seeing Between the Folds a
Yep.
while ago, and I I was very bad at it to begin with, but the more I learned about it, the more I felt that same feeling that I did in Magic and Cardistry, where there was this whole world of things to discover. And as I was exploring, the map unfolded and developed into this real-time discovery, just how much there was that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And it just became this whole world that swallowed me. And I'm very grateful for that because it reminded me that I didn't know everything. Because sometimes you get that feeling
Absolutely.
where, if you've been in cardistry long enough, you feel like you've seen everything,
Yep.
but there's still so much that's either forgotten or under the radar that you just don't know about.
Totally. And I
And
mean, if you want a direct path out of cardistry, I think we spoke about this as Franco, but go explore sleight of hand or something like, and suck at sleight of hand. You won't be that bad. You got the fundamentals. Arguably, you will probably be better than a lot of card magicians who have been doing it for their entire lives because
yeah,
they don't know how to handle deck of cards. Um, Low key, they be Hindu shuffling. Um, but yeah, it's just great. It's a good exercise in brain plasticity. So,
yeah,
especially if you're old and crusty like us.
I wish I was better at sleights. Um, Someone asks if we could talk about, are we at a point where people should be taking cardistry theory more seriously? I think that um, we've always been there. Like, I don't think there's been ever a point where cardistry theory isn't important, even
Yeah,
down to like when Jerry was talking about the mentality of like what is a flourish. Like that is something that um, is akin to when Michael Jordan is about to dunk a ball and he like spins it ahead of time as
yep,
his accent to what he's doing. Like just applying that analogously to what we do with cards, I think,
yep, yep. No,
is
for
very
sure.
important. And
For
some of
sh-
the best conversations I've had at like cardistry cons have been with other cardists about theory, more so than just sharing and jamming over moves. Because the move is kind of the mm, is a product, but the
mm,
theory is like the lesson, I feel.
yep, yep, yeah. No, I agree and disagree with cardistry theory in a couple ways.
Hmm.
Um, I think there was an era. where cardistry theory was really, I don't know, it was like in like an academic tone for a bit,
Right.
and I always thought that was dumb as hell.
Well, like CGN,
See, what's CGN?
Cardistry grid notation, the thing that
Oh,
Cardistry Touch was trying to put out.
yeah, cool. It's cool. It's a cool concept. It's a cool little thing, but like, it's not applicable. Um, and like mind mapping stuff, like the stuff Matt Beaudoin was doing was very cool, and I really appreciate like deep thinking about cardistry. But
Hmm.
at the end of the day, cardistry is vibes. It's vibe based, and it's there's no
I mean,
right or wrong.
that's a theory in and of itself.
Yeah,
The
but it's
vibe-based
but
theory.
saying that's a theory, I think, is like adding this like sterile element to it in a way. Because at least for me, like my favorite cardists, like the Danish method, for example,
Right.
there is obviously they're cognizant of what they're doing and what they're creating, but you like talk to them and ask them about their creations, they're kind of just like, just starts well and ends well, and you just don't want it to be too long or too short, and you want to have like a moment in it or something.
Right.
But within those parameters, that can mean anything. So, and I used to like the beats theory that Chase had,
Yeah,
like
XP
the
equals
rhythm,
XP.
XP, and I think that is applicable to a degree. But again, there's no rules to any of that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I, I I
I'm not
guess
an
that you
expert on
I
any of
guess
this,
that
but
I guess that now you mention it, I think that cardistry theory has to be backed by people's work. Like if you
totally.
aren't good, I'm less inclined to listen to what you might be pontificating and like kind of
Yes.
armchair speculating about what should or shouldn't be done in cardistry.
Yes.
But if you have work that I look up to and respect, then
Totally.
I'm definitely more open to listening to like what your thoughts are and what you have to say. Like
Yeah.
I love Tobias's chapters at the end of Freedom, which he
Yeah.
also echoed in his Patreon videos about practice
Yep.
and just going
Yep.
slowly and all that. Like very helpful.
Abs- Absolutely. Absolutely. And I guess we should clarify, yeah, there's like theory for kind of how you do cardistry, practice and things, and then like theories of creation as well. And I think the theories of creation is where I get a little muddy and in the legitimacy of it. But again, like you said, Chase has created some of the greatest, flowiest, vibiest cuts of all time, and he uses the beats thing, and it works. So yeah, I don't know. It's I think you can over hypothesize cardistry and forget that you just need to like sit down and do it and stare at your pants and your hands until something clicks. So um, yeah, but at the same time, I don't want to sound like a complete hater. Any type of artistry thought, whether it's cutting edge or or based on like old school teaching and stuff, I think it's good for the community. And there's no again no right or wrong way to go about this. As long as you're applying what you're learning, it's fine. If you're just thinking and talking shit, miss me with that.
Yeah, I think that in the magic community, there are more concrete instances of theory. Like they have the two perfect theory, they have like Gabi Paredes's
Yeah,
magical fiction theory that was explained to me beautifully by Mario Lopez back in Barcelona when we were all hanging out. And maybe it's that beyond a couple instances of like things like XP equals XP
yeah,
and Dimitri's like hand creation versus head creation
yeah,
theories. There just haven't been that many mature instances of iconic theories in cardistry yet. But I don't think that means people should stop thinking. It just means that
totally,
people should be more mindful about what they're pontificating on,
definitely.
perhaps.
I actually come to think of it, I think we spoke on this with Pat a little bit about how with the magic community, it's quite exciting right now within card magic because of the psychological evolutions of how tricks are performed or how like you're manipulating your audience and stuff, kind of beyond like the raw card technique. But coming back to Patrice, like his most recent clip, I think like Franco posted it on Carlago,
Oh yeah, with the pirouette.
which comes out of nowhere. And it was this like moment for me because I thought it was Franco at first. I thought it was a
Yeah,
Franco move, but it came out of nowhere. And I was like, that's so sick, and like kind of played within hardcore Cardist expectations, and then just like blew it out of the water. So it also had to do with like the angle that it was filmed at. So I think cardistry theory and maybe philosophy too about moments like that could be explored as well.
right.
I'm just kind of playing with the meta of like where we as cardists think cardistry is, and then you kind of play with those expectations. That's fun. Dabby's
I
really good
think
at that as well. So
Dabe's great too. I think that at the end of the day, um, when it comes to theory and all that, that might be a bit too heady. But I think what people are looking for is really just tips on how to do cardistry better.
yeah,
And we saw some of that at the Brooklyn Con when people were talking about how to do isolations better, or
yep,
Darren was talking about his practice regimen, or Huron was even talking about how he designs playing cards.
yep,
I think people just want to be better, and you don't necessarily get that from just watching someone's video.
yeah,
Sometimes people gotta talk about it, and we have the podcast for that too. Just
exactly.
talking about cards.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, this is yeah. Come here, hear us talk, learn, learn from our ways. But that was a great. That's a great question, and I think it's like there's a million opinions on it. So I'm excited to see where it goes as the future progresses in the community.
Someone asked, "What are the modern standards for cardistry?"
Big
Um,
moves.
yeah, I think that it's shifted over the years. Um, these days, you'll see Phobos Deimos and Rifflefan and Bloom a lot more,
Yeah,
whereas it used to be Springworm, that kind of stuff.
yeah. Is Phobos Deimos the new worm? Low key.
Maybe, maybe. I know Max does it a lot on, not Max Masenko, the other Max, the British Max, does it a lot on TikTok.
I do it all the
Um,
time for it's my go-to layperson move because it looks
it's a
like you
great
have
move.
three hands.
It's true. Like I remember first seeing Phobos Deimos and I couldn't fathom like what it took to make it work. I was like, how do you spin that way?
Yeah, like the yeah, it's such a great move.
Like that was when I think Noel did it on Instagram with the deck with pipes on it. Do you remember that video?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was it. It might have had the Exorcist shirt too, with the name that I can't really say on the podcast.
Such a good shirt.
It's in the Fontaine fam though, that
Yes.
shirt.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, and I think yeah, Phobos Deimos. I guess phased is kind of like the new Sybil, like entry level Sybil maybe,
Right,
or
right. ATM, ATM,
ATM, Pincho,
Lego Love. Like
Lego
Patrick was
Love,
right. ATM, Pincho, Lego Love, Flip Flop,
Skirt,
Mantra, Skirt.
Mantra. Yeah, it's just basically all the Danish stuff for the modern. It's the modern rubric.
Yeah. Modern standards for cardistry. I think that video quality has gone up a lot because of the technology that we have now. It used to be webcam videos or like videos that were filmed with a camcorder outdoors.
Yep.
But now anyone, like, you'll see a lot of POV videos, and I think this is, leading up to where we've had this stuff with Gian in recent times with him, like with the camera strapped on his body doing cardistry on the trains for people. But yeah, like I'll see a lot of stuff on like YouTube Shorts or TikTok or Instagram Reels where it's people doing point of view cardistry. And I think that's gotten really popular because it's gotten people to envision what it's like to be a practitioner of the art form.
Yeah.
So you get to kind of fill yourself in the shoes of someone who's doing this, and it looks good.
Definitely. I will say too, there was a video posted recently. I think his name is Jake. He posted an edit. He was using like the headlong cards, black and white video, where there's like a tech house track in the background, and then he's just doing old kind of like cardistry ideas in a way, and the audio of the cards is still in it, and it pairs really well with the track.
Oh,
And it's
cool.
just like him, stationary camera, black and white filming, very old school. I haven't been that inspired to make a video in so long because I don't know. It's just like this beautiful, like stylistic, simple, old school but new school rendition of a cardistry video. Um, I'll find the link and send it to you later. But super sick.
Nice.
And that was kind of like the antithesis of like what we were just talking about, like high production
Yeah.
value. You have to have this camera, and yeah, and I think one of the biggest flaws right now in the modern standards of cardistry is you need someone else filming you.
All right, the whole camera movement kind of,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
great for solos, but I think also the strength of a lot like old school cardistry videos and classics was you just did it yourself and you could take your time, get the take.
And you had to learn like what the best angle was that your move looked at from a stationary point of view.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
Jonas was the master of that. Like he knew like how to design his stuff for the crotch shot, but
Yep,
also to like you know that video he does where he's like has the door that he opens and he goes into it, but it's on the other side of the door.
yep,
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
yep,
Just
yep,
stuff
yep.
like that, the little perspective shifting kind of things.
Totally. Keyframe God.
Keyframe God, yeah. Sony Vegas. Um, Someone suggested talking about overcoming blocks slash becoming inspired slash creative process slash balance between creating slash practicing. That's a lot of things. But if
So,
we're just talking about like overcoming blocks,
and
like I,
inspiration.
inspiration, like you and I have been in that spot where we're just like dead to the community for years,
Oh
right?
yeah. I mean, I'm still in that spot. Um, Creative blocks. It's hard to imagine a true creative block these days because there's so many things, styles of cardistry now. Like you can just explore something new. Like I'm kind of tired of practicing my two hand cuts, so I've just been messing around with like my fingers like this, and then I put like a card here, and you can kind of shoot the card like this. You can just mess around. Or I got into Ace Productions or Sleight of Hand. Like I'll go on Vanishing Ink and go way back and watch like Irving Quant videos and like
Irving Quant. Oh my God, that's a name I have not heard in a while.
this
Quantum
is a
mechanics.
this is how I kind of manage a lot of creative blocks or just lack of inspiration. Go back to old school kind of Dan and Dave era video on demand sleight tricks. The tricks might suck,
Yeah,
but oftentimes there's like a really cool sleight mechanic within it,
yeah. Hmm.
and that you can apply that to cardistry. So
Yeah, like I remember there was I can't remember the name of the change, but Dan and Dave had this move where they would do this and the card would change. That was
yes,
really bad. Like I need
yes,
something with more contrast, but they would have the card here and they would go like this. Oh, that was
yep,
terrible. Um, Let me see if I can actually hit this like that, and the card
yeah,
would
exactly.
change.
Well, that's how I came
Um,
up with my cardistry move, like the extendo, where I
Extendo.
like pull the card, like I have the
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
like this isn't it, but like when you pull out the cards like that, because
yeah.
yeah, to get the this action of like beveling the cards to put the double in is
Hmm.
the same action I use to get the setup. So that's based on that.
Yeah. I used it for my thing in aerodynamics where I went like that and then did this at the end of it.
Sick.
So
It's like a yeah, stuff like that. Again, like I'm messing with been messing with Portal and like the pop
yeah.
out action
Hmm.
like that. Super satisfying, and there's a million cardistry applications for all that. So slights are awesome for cardistry.
I think that anything you do artistically with cards is cardistry, really. I think people just want to see cool shit with cards at the
People
end
just
of
want
the
to see
day.
cool shit with cards. Like
Because cardistry does not equal cuts. I
no,
think that's kind of limiting yourself to just that sub category of cardistry. I think that the Bucks had it right with just, and Jonas too, before them.
yep,
I don't know before them, but like concurrently, those two branches of just doing whatever you could to make cards look cool. I
yep,
think Ricky J preceded all of them with that and
definitely,
his stuff with 52 assistants.
definitely.
But yeah,
And I get it. Like especially if you're a two-hand cut dominant cardist,
hmm,
creative blocks are so frustrating because even just to get to like an idea is so much like brute forcing. So that's why, because I'm primarily make two hand cuts these days. So that's why like exploring sleights and maybe like coming up with a new ace production or like an opening mechanic or like a magical element to a flourish is really satisfying because sleights are just like this. Like you don't have to work on. There's like one mechanic and it's done. So
Yeah.
it's really quick. So
Yeah, it's easier to drill. I mean, it's not easier because sometimes like to get these slides to a Tony Chang level, you'll have
yeah,
to put in years and years and years. But
totally.
you are just kind of going through a few seconds of the same thing
Yeah.
over and over, and it's
Yeah, like
um,
the Uzumaki idea thing. Like I was just
yeah,
like, let's just mess around with that and stuff like that. So,
it looks great.
and then what was the other part of that question? There was like eight parts of that question.
Overcoming blocks, becoming inspired. I think we kind of touched on that. Creative process.
We probably touched on all of that, right? All this
Yeah,
question.
balance between creating and practicing. I think those are things that you can kind of hop in between with each other. If you're kind of creating, if you're kind of burnt out on creating, then you just go back to the things you already have and
Yeah,
work on those. And if you feel that you've been working on things that are old for too long, you can hop into coming up with something new. I don't think there's any particular regimen to like when you should do what, but it's more of a vibes kind of thing. Like
definitely.
I wish I was more creative these days, but then I look back at like just how much there is to learn, and I am kind of glad that I don't have to be creative, that I can just learn these things from other people.
Totally.
Because
Yeah.
what is the point of creating anymore? I know it sounds kind of pessimistic, but
No, for sure.
it's a common language that we speak, cardistry,
Yep.
and people are adding to the vernacular and the vocabulary every day and coming up with new things for the community to absorb and take in. Um,
Save up culture, save up move culture is it's I think it does more harm than good in the community. What I mean by that is if you are saving up your moves for the hopes of making a solo video someday, but you haven't actually taken any steps to like plan the video or gone someone to film it or something and like set a deadline for yourself, I hate to break it to you, but you're going to be in this K-hole of pain for years. And you're never going to be happy with the moves. You're never going to finish them. You're never going to put yourself on like the chopping block of like, I got to finish this move. And even if it's not fully to the standard I want, it's done because I have to get in the video. So
it's like the antithesis of what Jonas and Darren were, which is that they would make a video as soon as they were ready to put it out, and then that was what it was.
yeah,
Like I remember like fresh Jonas videos coming out and being so excited to watch them, being like, what is this going to be?
yeah,
Because there was no preconceived notion of like what genre of video was
hmm
going to turn out to be or what to expect. And sometimes it would be him trolling us with a fake Cobra cut, or
totally.
sometimes he'd be shoving a nail up his nose.
Yeah, or putting a match in his mouth, a lit match.
Yeah, the pumpkin video.
But that's why this
So,
Jake video I mentioned was so refreshing because it was very giving Jonas, old school Jonas, in a lot of ways.
right,
So really
right.
fun. But also not to discount making solo videos and like prime examples say like Sprat, for example. Like he saves
Mhm.
up, but he always has like a deadline because he wants to present these videos at CardistryCon, for example.
Yeah,
And he's like been very like on it, I think. So I think if you have a bit of a system to creating and then knowing that you're going to get them on film for something, that's fine as well. But just saving indefinitely for the hopes of a video, I don't think that's great for the creativity in your brain.
yeah. I think that people should also practice filming. Like maybe they already do, but like to to know ahead of time like how you want your video to look, I think is very beneficial to the final product. Because I remember when we were rehearsing for liquid paper, we would practice the shots to the point where it wasn't even a matter of like getting a good take. It was a matter of like just like we didn't have to worry about doing the move right or
Yeah.
getting the camera movement right. It was just a matter of like getting the best coincidence of those two things happening.
Mm. And yeah, that's kind of the intangible sometimes with the solo video as well. It's like sometimes the movement and the cut just aligns perfectly, and then you can hear it when you play it back, and the person watches like, "Oh, we got it. That's the one."
The way I've put together a lot of my own videos is very serendipitous. Like I don't tend to plan my videos that much.
Mm.
I think I can specifically speak to Portable Playground 2 with this, where I just shot a bunch of footage and then I sat down and tinkered in the timeline with the music and it just came together. And that's how it's usually always worked for me. Um,
It's a
Things
nice
just happen to fall in
exercise.
place.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great. That's how I've been.
it's like playing Tetris a little bit. Just
All the my recent card slate videos, I've literally invented each slate
the
right
day
before
of.
the day of. Yeah, like it's just a
Yeah,
little exercise. Like you get a burst of inspiration, or I figure out like a cool little mechanic. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna film it right now. Get a good take, film it, like take 100 takes, get one take, done. Post it, move on.
yeah.
So I haven't, yeah,
As I
all of those are like, yeah, I've been working on them for like 20 minutes before filming.
Again, as like Spencer said, come up with the move, film the move,
The
never
move,
do the move
never do
again.
it again. It's great. It's just it's a really great healthy mental exercise for creativity. It's cards.
Yeah. Um, Lonnie Dillon wants us to talk about aging and its effects on card handling skills, dry skin and shitty reflexes, loss of speed. This is
Bro is
going
projecting as
to
hell.
the pasteboard pimp is
Yeah.
deteriorating. I
Um,
think that if any of you are having problems with like dry skin, you definitely got to pick up some O'Keeffe's. Um, do you know about this, Brendan? O'Keeffe's working hands?
no. Is it moisturizer?
Um, it kind of like it's a hand cream that um, let me see. It looks like this,
Mm.
and it's a hand cream that you just take like a little bit of and you rub it on your fingers, and it adds like this non-sticky friction to your fingers that make it so that you grip on cards a lot more effectively.
Oh, sick.
And I was introduced to it by my friend Corey Francis a while ago. He goes by Fingerjack on social media, and it's been super duper helpful. Like there have been times when I've gone outside and I had to film some card stuff, and like the wind has made it so my hands are super dry and can't grip on cards easily, and I just
Yeah.
like reach in my pocket with some O'Keeffe's and apply it,
Sick.
just like a little tiny dab, and it works really well. So
Wow, I want to try that out.
yeah, I highly recommend it. You don't even need that much, just like the tiniest little.
Sweet.
Um, Aging and its effects on card handling skills. I mean, I was just rewatching Chris Brown's like arthritis onslaught videos, and the title of that alone, just as you get older, you develop like rheumatism, arthritis in your fingers, that sort of idea. I don't know. I'm not old enough to really know. Are you? Like, have you experienced any kind of decline over time when it comes to your mobility,
I
Brendan?
think I would say I'm actually probably a good example of this because I'm in my 30s now,
Yeah, same.
and um, I only really started like re-grinding Cardistry maybe like 5 years ago.
Mm.
Um, so I'm definitely in the older age bracket of cardists, but arguably I think I'm creating my best stuff ever now, and my skills are better than ever. So I haven't noticed. It's just a matter of practice still. Like things might not come as easily, for sure, but I don't know. I haven't really noticed much of a difference. Arthritis, it depends on the type of moves you're doing as well.
I
If you're
think
doing,
for this particular question, like we'd probably have to have a guest on like Brian Tudor or Lee Asher and ask them like in their
yeah.
experience what they've experienced with this sort of thing because
I
they're
mean,
kind of the OGs when it comes to it.
I think it's probably good for. arthritis in a way, like keeping mobility, as
So
long as you're not straining, right?
yeah.
So it's a scary thought for all of us.
Hmm. I do feel sometimes that if I haven't practiced for um, that might be the opposite of what he mentions because like I don't think it's so much a fat matter of practicing too much and then your hands deteriorate because of that. But if you don't
Yeah.
keep up with practice, you'll just end up losing it. Like if you don't use it, you lose it kind of thing. Because I'll go for maybe weeks sometimes without practicing, and then when I pick up a deck of cards, I just feel so shitty. Like
Yeah.
that I need to
Yeah.
like recalibrate my skill set and relearn a lot of these things, retrain
Totally.
more so.
I mean, the like the hand tension. Have you ever experienced this? You're trying to film a move
Hmm.
and you're like grinding it for an hour straight and you just can't get the take. And you're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a 5 minute break. You go, you wash your hands, you like breathe, you come back and you get it like first try the next round.
Yeah, yeah,
Does that happen to you? It happens to me
yeah.
all the time. So I think, yeah, just like calibrating and like being gentle with your body and like breathing and like not straining
Yeah, it
can
takes a
all.
balance of like not pushing yourself too far and also just learning to mm, know when to take a break sometimes.
Breathing as well. You'd be amazed that when you're trying to film something, how little you're breathing.
Yeah,
Uh, so it's kind of like all those sniper movies you see where the granddad's teaching the kid how to shoot a
yeah.
wolf. And he's like, okay, you take the big deep breath before and then you shoot. You can do that with cardistry too before you film a take and before you do move. Just like take a deep breath and like it'll release like tension in your body. Your hand will slowly tense up more and more and more and more and more the more you do a thing. So you're like, "Mm."
Speaking of which, I'm guilty of this too. But have you ever watched a Cardistry video where they leave the sound on and you can hear the person just going like,
Oh yeah, it
it
kills me, man.
happens to me all the time. I'm a very like loud breather. There's been episodes of Clam I've listened back to them and like because I had this microphone at the time, it's picked up on my breathing so heavily and like I it's horrible. Like
Cardistry mouth
I
breathers,
I apologize to everyone who's listened and had to bear me going like
bro.
all Darth Vader on the mic.
Everybody breathes. We all gotta breathe.
So I haven't addressed all the questions, but the ones that I've highlighted, there's this last one here.
Yeah, maybe
Uh,
one more.
yeah, one more. So someone says, how did cardistry change over the last 10 years, and where do you see it in 10 years? I think that's a good one to end on.
Hmm.
I'll posit that question to you first, Brendan. Like, what's your retrospective and what's your um, prospective, I guess.
Yeah, so 10 years. So that would take us to like, I guess
2014.
15, 14-ish. So that was,
2014 was right before the big viral boom of 2015, I'd
and
say.
right before all the brands kind of popped out.
Yeah, like that was when Fontaine and Virtuoso kind of just got started making decks.
Yeah,
Smoke and Mirrors had been out for a while. They're actually doing the box set in 2013, right
yeah,
before Test Room came out.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It was, I mean, that's when I just got back into cards again. And it felt magical. It felt like the sky was the limit. I mean, I was seeing these conventions pop up in these amazing places. The attendees were crazy. The content coming out online was insane. Instagram was really booming as a cardistry community back then. People were just posting for the sake of posting. It kind of reminded me of like the technique era a little bit, like Instagram back then. Tobias was posting just a combo every day or a new one hand
yeah,
that he invented or something like that.
yeah,
Same with
that was
Oliver.
exciting.
It was
Yeah.
very exciting. And yeah, and then I think no things went viral, and then got I think like a layer of pessimism got injected into the community with card collecting and capitalism, and um, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's changed a ton. I think there's less leaders in the community that are active.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say so too. I think that there are still big influencers, but I think that their personalities have been taken a step back in the community
Yeah,
somehow. Like, there are a few brands where the posts seem a little impersonal because of the fact that you don't really see the face of the person anymore. I
yeah,
won't name names, so to speak, but
totally.
I think we all know like a few instances of that. Um, I think that one of the things that's kind of nice over the past 10 years is that it seems that the stakes in terms of competitions has been upped like massively. Like we've had things like the CCC, the trials, missing battles, Lotus in Hand singles, all that.
Yeah,
And people are really bringing their A game to these competitions.
yeah,
And we've seen some really, really awesome um, output from that. ICO
definitely.
as well. How can I
Yep,
forget?
yep, yep. Yeah, that's kind of gone away. Um, a wee bit. I don't know. I think my perspective is mired by I've been doing this for 20 years, so like I don't know. I'm fine. I'm happy wherever it is. I'm just happy. I'm like an old grandpa you put in the corner at the event and put like a blanket and a hot water bottle on me and just like give me a cookie and I'm good.
Yeah.
Um, so I am. It is interesting to think of like how it feels to be like a new cardist in the community. You know?
I feel that I have personally like a lot less to prove over time. I think that I've checked off
Totally.
like most of what I've set out to do through just the verts and my own personal ventures and all this. Like I've put out my own deck of cards. I've made videos with Dan and Dave, and I've helped to organize a convention
Yeah,
several times and things like that. And now it's just nice to see other people get in the bag and um, doing good
definitely.
stuff. And
Totally.
I love being surprised. I love when, things just come out of the blue and, you see a really good performance or like a really surprising move or like even Giada's um, deck that he put out recently online, the curved mirrors. Have you seen this?
Yeah, it's very sweet.
Yeah, I just picked up like a pack that should be coming in, but like these guys, so
Yeah,
cool.
they're super sick.
Like it's nice to take a step back and just let it happen instead of having to be the one
Yeah,
to push the wheel.
for sure. For sure.
Um, how did it change over the last 10 years? Is there anything else to add to that? Um,
I think what's changed also is the primary content is new decks being posted as
yeah,
opposed to new cardistry. Again, I've never had a deep interest in card collecting or anything.
a lot of card collecting is just box collecting if you think about it. Like I think that
I got a lot of beef with card collectors, honestly. Come at me. You guys suck most for the most part. Like the vocal ones, the haters who like have such crazy expectations for these brands just so they can sit on your shelf and do nothing. I'm sorry. It's lame. Maybe we'll cut this out. But there's some card collector haters, like some big haters for sure. Um, I don't know what my point was. Sorry.
oh,
It's I don't know. It's I don't know if the algorithm's hitting the same for me as it is for other people too. I don't even know if I'm seeing the same stuff as other people right now. It just
that's
feels
true.
a
It
little
used to
disjointed.
it used to be that you had a more homogenized experience on things like technique and cheaters, where the
Yeah,
top five would be chosen,
yeah,
and the same for everybody. But now everyone has like customized for you feeds, and
Yep.
again, like my feed is going to be completely different from yours, Brendan,
Yeah.
and we don't know if we're all kind of clued in and following or seeing the same stuff. So the
Yep.
zeitgeist of like what is new and popping, like there might be people who are great that just go completely under the radar because they have no followers on Instagram,
Totally.
whereas it used to be more even and easier for people to pick this stuff up because people have been like spamming hashtags ever since Best Cards Alive kind of came to the forefront,
Yeah.
and now every cardistry post has hashtag Best Cards Alive on it, so you can't find the stuff that actually is meant to rise to the top. Um, Thinking about it, I think another thing that's changed in the last 10 years that like I regrettably was a part of is that I think ever since Brooklyn, there's been a distinct divide between people who are considered headliners and people who are not.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It used to be that you would go to a jam and you just meet other cardists and be glad that other people were doing cardistry and everyone would be on the same level, and we'd all learn and teach each other things. And I assume that's how even Tobias and Oliver and Nikolai, like
Yeah.
when they and Dennis formed Dynamite, that was just friends who were in the same area, hanging out together, doing card stuff. And the same thing for the Singapore scene. Like I was around the same age as Huron and Darren and Elijah and Sylvester, and we, by proximity, were um, grouped together doing this stuff. And I think that um, because of the headliner mentality, it's made it so that people feel that certain artists are put on a pedestal and are
Yeah.
differentiated from them.
Definitely.
And people who are in those positions might feel that too, that other people are not as, like, again, I'm not going to name any names, but we've seen a lot of instances where people will DM someone who's popular and the person will just not get back to them.
Yeah,
Um,
for
I
sure.
try to get back to everyone who messages me personally, and I understand that some people might get an influx of maybe too many messages and can't handle it. But earlier on, before um, things like the con, I think it was easier for people to get in touch with people who they wanted to contact and be seen as not just another number, but as like an actual person.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah. No, I've definitely missed a lot of messages, message requests in my day as well. I do try to get back to some of them with that are like really earnest and asking advice on whatever. I'll always try, but yeah, again, sometimes, yeah, you're right. The headliner ego never, or like deification of some of these people, it never really went away. It's interesting. Like some of the like the cardists that were big back then are still the cardists that are big now. Big in quotations. And yeah, I have seen this be like a common criticism of the community is that like how do you break into like the upper echelon and hang out with the cool kids? I don't know.
yeah,
So I think it's like and I think a lot of it too is just like it feels like these people can't be touched because they're not in the community anymore. They're not even doing cardistry, but they're like still like held to this regard in a way. Like they're these mythical creatures that just you can't sit with ever. So I don't know. I'm happy what cardistry is right now, honestly.
yeah. So, second part of that question is where do we see it in 10 years? I don't know.
I
I
don't know.
really don't know.
I'm a still be shuffling. It's the coolest thing I do in my life for sure.
I wonder if things like VR and AR are going to come into play when it comes to sharing and learning cardistry. I had this vision a while ago, no pun intended, of someone having a headset being able to watch a cardistry tutorial that was translucent and overlaid on top of their hands so they could run through the tutorial in slow motion and be able to follow with this overlay like exactly where to put their fingers in real time. It's kind of like you ever seen Speed Racer and like when the
Yeah, yeah,
cars
yeah,
are
yeah.
like
That'd be sweet.
yeah
That'd be very cool.
um, yeah
But
AI
who's going
also.
to invest? Is there money to be made doing that? That's the
That's
problem.
that's true. Like
I want the
every
opposite. I hope we just go back to manuscripts and books, notes.
books are great. Notes are awesome. Like I've had fun putting notes out throughout the years. Um, I I reckon things will increase in experimentation with things like uh, packets, like packets, squids, tiles, slabs.
Yep.
You know, um, all these things people are calling them these days. Um, Again, with the stuff that uh, people like Jada are doing with the curved mirror backs, I think that card technology, with the holographic decks and all that, going to get more advanced too. But that's like talking about the actual physical product. I think that cardistry itself is going to have to become a lot more consistently performed live in the next 10 years for it to gain increasing
Mm.
validity in the public eye. Anna's doing a great job of that.
Yeah,
I
Anna's
think
killing
she
it.
was, I think she was the one who was featured in that recent Disney movie.
She was.
The Okay, good,
That
good,
is another thing too,
good.
like because I've been fortunate enough to do cardistry in like quite a few different non-magic mediums, like art
Hmm.
exhibits,
Yeah.
videos, commercials, and that's just by meeting people and then saying I do cards, and I'm like, you're the card guy in their group.
Hmm.
I would really encourage other cardists to like put yourselves out there like that. If you have people that are maybe in these industries, let them know or just show them because card shuffling in modern media is there will be things that need someone who can shuffle cards. It sounds strange to say because it's so niche what we do, but those opportunities do come up. So
Oh, I gotta give a shout out to someone who's probably way ahead of their time, which is Creod, and all the stuff that he's been doing,
yeah,
experimenting with like what cards can be as a medium. And
yeah,
he'll do stuff like
totally.
label cards and perform with them in like a symbolic, metaphorical way, and like use mirrors and all that stuff.
He's
And
his evolution's been great.
yeah, it's very, very cool. So shouts out Alexei Creod. Triangulum's great, by the way.
Smashing the triangles into each other.
Yeah, stashing triangles. Um, and
All
I
right.
hope that people will still be watching Clam 10 years from now.
Yeah, one of us might die of old age, and the other one just has to hold it down solo.
Uh, Other one's still got to be using O'Keefe's working hands.
Just cover my body in it.
Yeah,
Um, well, yeah. Well, that was a good chat. That was a good
yeah, good
2
catching
hours
up.
talking shop.
Exactly. I didn't have much planned aside
Yeah,
from
we never
what was
we
on the
never
list.
do. We never do.
No, just
So
winging it.
so yeah, I guess for those watching this, maybe in the YouTube comments or something, if there are like maybe other things too, or we didn't touch on, or suggestions for future episodes, just let us know. Feedback
Yeah,
is
or
good.
future guests.
Future guests too. We got some lined up.
Mhm.
Bangers. Future guests and like what you would like to learn about these guests as well. Because like yeah, we have our standard three questions or top threes, but
Mhm.
we can go way, way deeper with everything. So just let us know.
Cool. Well, thank you, Brendan, for joining me again. This was a great chat,
Thanks, Kevin.
and we'll catch you guys around next time. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye.